We're finally back here to preview round 8.
Come on!
Hello and welcome back to Off the Mark, an AFL Fantasy podcast. I'm Mason.
I'm Casey, and I hope you're not watching the video today because I literally just woke up and I not my finest hour, a bit sniffly, so apologies for all of that. But it kind of sums up how I'm really feeling after last night, to be honest. It was a tough watch for a Jacobs owner like myself. So, but I'm here and we're doing the podcast, and there's a lot more games in round 8, so hopefully it gets a little bit better from here.
Plenty of time for you to make your mark, I guess.
Well played.
Let's go through last night just quickly. It was a draw between the Hawks and the Pies. A fantastic finish. Great. I watched like the last 6 minutes. It was very good. So we saw for the Pies, top scorer Nick Dacos 124, and if you VC that, you're just taking it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So he was fantastic. Dan Houston as well was good, and again showed us he can score in patches with a 44-point last quarter. Did you see him almost get a plus 18 at the end of that?
I did.
That was
pretty
amazing.
Funny.
He was playing kick to kick
yeah.
with Maynard, and Maynard almost went back to him for a third plus 6. Unfortunately, he didn't get it, but that was good to see from Houston. Other scores there for the Pies, I guess. Josh Dacos 82. You're not very happy with that, are you?
Not at all.
No.
And I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna a little tiny rant here. They don't give him the ball. Josh Dacos finished the game with 22 disposals at 85% disposal efficiency. Nick Dacos had 34 with 50%.
Oh, yeah, and he did that last week as well. Bad
Oh my god,
disposal efficiency.
he just racks, and they just keep giving it to him because he's the little master, and he was just fucking shit. And it's like, yes, he kicked a goal, and yes, he's had like some good plays, but 50% disposal efficiency is actually, if this is anybody else in the league, they'd be getting pounded. But instead, Nick Dacos gets pounded the other way by the media. Like, it's just,
You're not wrong.
a tough watch. It's a tough watch.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking about this last night. So it was kind of Josh Dacos versus Dane Zorko, right? Do you think that there's part of me kind of feels like the Zorko owners won? Like,
100%.
Because it's,
100%.
Yes, we had to trade out of him. We got that bad score that was covered by the bench, but I think I went him to, or eventually went him to Archie Roberts, I think was what ended up for me. And now, yes, I've used a trade, but that difference is quite a difference.
Yeah.
So,
not only that, the week that he got injured, the bench covered score was 2 points less than Jacobs.
Yeah.
You literally have won at every point.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went Zorko to Newman, and then it let me do Buderick to Connor McDonald on the other side. Yeah, so that was what I did with the Zorko thing. So I feel like that's almost a win for us Zorko owners, really.
Or
maybe even a win for people who went all the way down to short. I know he missed last week, but he's been good, and you saved cash. Yeah, he was probably the guy, or even just going early on a Newman if you went there. Because we've had some stinky defender picks this year. Other names for the Pies. So Cameron and Steen obviously shared that ruck role again for a 59 and 45. So again, we're just avoiding that. And Angry Anderson. So I've got a story to tell. I had a gig last night, finished my gig, walking to the car. I'm going, oh, Houston's looking good, C-Mac's looking good, blah, 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 blah. Anderson, not too great. So I look at my side and I go, wait, where is he? Because I just couldn't see where he was. I was like, he's not on my bench. I swear I fielded him last week. I look back, I never traded him in. I think I had him in my trade-ins until I decided that I was just going to go Myers out when he wasn't named. And so I just, for some reason in my head, thought that I had him, and I didn't. And to be honest, a 30, maybe it's not the end of the world that I didn't, because he seemed like a bit of a must-have there. And now he's kind of killed his cash gem with that 30. Did have a -6 break-even, so we'll make some cash, but probably won't make much more after this. He'll probably just get to 500k and then start to go back down, I reckon. So
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Spent the whole week saying, I've got Anderson. I got Anderson last week.
I was so sure that I had him. It was like the biggest like deja vu-ish kind of like thing. It was weird. Over the Hawks, though, and they had some big scorers here, as teams usually do against the Pies. So C-Mac was the top with a 114. Had a nice 3 goals in there that definitely helped that, but also 28 touches and 7 marks was helpful in that. But yeah, big last 2 quarters. So he was sitting on 32 at halftime and then ended with that 114 with a 38 and a
I know.
42
I was
point
so excited.
third and fourth quarter. Yeah, I know. Yeah, 2 goals in that in about 5 minutes in the second quarter was nice. I remember I was playing the gig, and on my music stand, I had my phone with the fantasy scores up, watching the Hawthorn scores. And I think we played a tune, and C-Mac was on like 35. And then we finished 5 minutes later, and he was up to like 80. And I was like, whoa, when the hell did that happen? And then he kicked that goal at the very end to get them within a goal. That was nice for his scoring as well. So he was very good. A couple of defenders there, Carl Amon 113 and Jarman Impey 105. I did end up doing this. We had a
Nice.
podcast recorded on Tuesday. Technical difficulties meant that we basically spoke for an hour and then it deleted itself. So that was fantastic. Yeah. But I did speak up very highly of Jarman Impey, and I promise you, Casey will attest to this, I've had him in my side in my trades for the whole week. This is not I haven't tried to hide this. True. Not that I would hide it from 7 listeners, but
you know, he got laughed at in the group chat as well.
I did. Yeah. So yeah, 105 for him and 113 for Amon, who again could be a good pick as well. Probably doesn't have the as long of a stretch. So he had 119 last round against the Gold Coast and then some 60s and 80s, whereas Impey's had 105, 111, 96, 87, and then some 60s. So yeah, both have been pretty good, to be honest. Newcomb as well there is there with a 110. So it proves that Collingwood are a pretty easy matchup for the kind of defenders and midfielders, I guess, as well. They're orange at the moment, but they are getting easier as the weeks go on. Other names that are relevant there, Jack Ginnivan, 89, hasn't been the worst pick if you went there actually in the forward line, although he is pretty expensive now. Dylan Moore, 66. He's getting really cheap for us, so once he can kind of start to maybe show a little bit of something, he could be a good pick. He's down to 800k now. I unfortunately have him in my draft team, and there's not much else there for the Hawks.
No, fair enough. I just want to give a special little shout out to Oscar Steen, who was on like 11 at 3/4 time and then brought it home with a big 20 in the fourth or something like that, or might have been half time or something like that. But he started the game by giving away 4 free kicks. Ooh. So it was not looking good for Oscar Steen, who had a break even of 20 and then came through with a 45 to. I was pretty happy with that. He'll make me a little bit of cash and somewhere to move on for. Yeah, with this game, what I was really looking at was, despite all the premiums, I kind of had a thought to myself, as much as we want to get this forward line filled out and we want to get these forward rookies off field, it's not necessarily a who are we looking at in the forward line, oh, that rookie might not do. You kind of just, or rookies all around, like where do you want your blokes playing? So for me, it was Murdoch and Anderson on field, and then Sarong and Farrow in the defence, and I had Braden Cook on my F6 with bringing in Petrarca this week. Yep. And then I thought to myself, you know what? Todd Marshall probably outscores Anderson, or probably outscores someone like this. So I chucked the E on Anderson just to see how he'd go, see if I didn't want that score on field.
Yep.
Evidently, I don't. So now, instead of going Petrarca, I have Cook and Marshall on field because that's a better rookie score than I was going to get. I'm trading into someone else.
Nice.
In the midfield.
Nice. So, yeah, I don't mind that. I agree. Yeah. Cook and Marshall. I currently have them. I just kicked my chair down. I currently have them looping them at F6.
Because that's exactly what I was thinking. So many people are playing one of them at F6, whether it be Cook, whether it be Marshall. I just thought, fuck it, we ball. Let's play both.
Yeah. So Cook's last 5 scores, 72, 80, 57, 56, 83. So can chuck a 50 in there, but it's not the end of the world if he does. Marshall's, well, he's only played 4 games this year, but his last 2 before his, or after his injury, 78 and 62. So he can definitely pop a good score. So yeah, I mean, and again, it's the same, yeah, I guess. I mean, my midfield, I've got Sarong, Murdoch, and Jagger Smith, which when we go through the teams in a second, he's definitely on field this week, I think. And then I've got, just Farrow in the back line. So essentially I've got 2 and 2, but Sarong's just in my midfield for my structure because I've got Newman and Impey there as kind of the mid prices. It does leave Grew on my bench, which is I am looping him with Farrow just because I think he probably could outscore Farrow this week, just purely because he's playing West Coast and Farrow's playing Brisbane. It's like the easiest and the hardest, well, not the literally, but one of the easiest, one of the hardest. So that's my thoughts for that. That's probably we've probably just done field or yield without saying
Correct.
it. I guess that's probably what it is. Any other rookie decisions? Rechko, are you happy to field him this week against West Coast after his 91 last week?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. We did have a very very nice Instagram DM over the week asking about Rechko and LDU. Who do you field this week? That was very nice. So if you do listen, if you are a listener, whether it's one episode or every episode, make sure you chuck us a DM on Instagram because we love chatting to all of you, giving advice, getting advice as well because we need it sometimes. And yeah, just having a chat. It's probably one of the benefits of being a bit of a smaller podcast is we've got all the time in the world to chat to you guys. So make sure.
And it's pretty funny because we will both respond to the message. Like this is the second time it's happened. I've been writing this massive paragraph. And just as before I'm about to hit send, I see that the off the mark has already sent a paragraph like just then. I was scroll up, Mason here. It's like, it beat me to it again. So hey, one day I might get there. But hey, turns out right.
We almost need separate like off the mark Mason, and off the mark Casey. Like, yeah. But yeah, definitely send us a DM, chuck some comments on our posts and stuff, or even follow us over at Instagram at offthemark.fantasy to get some more help post the podcast. But yeah, Rechko LDU. So his worry was that LDU is being tagged by Sheen Mullen. I don't have word on that. It's a fair worry. I feel like people aren't talking about Sheasel enough. Like, surely it just goes to Sheasel, right? LDU I know we don't do things off fantasy scores, but last week, I mean, had a 68, so he had, 20 touches, 4 marks, 3 tackles, and 0 goals or anything, 0 scoring, 79% on time of ground.
Who's more taggable, to be honest?
Yeah. I feel like Sheasel's pretty taggable, isn't he? Like, he's not...
Well, he just finds the field, though. It's kind of like Wang Miller. Like, he just goes and finds it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you tag him in the midfield, he'll go to half back if you know.
Correct.
But, maybe that... I don't know. It'll be an interesting thing, but... I mean, we're also talking about Sheen Mullen. I know Butters was fantastic at working through the tag, but Mullen's track record is pretty good, even with some bigger names. Like, he tagged Bont to a 20. If he can get Bont, he can get Sheasel. So it's... I'm just a wait and see, but in terms of that specific scenario, Rechko over LDU, going LDU first. You just put the guy with the track record on. Although Rechko did outscore him by 30 points last week, so maybe take with that what you will. Let's have a quick look at the teams as they did come out. I think we've got to do this last Thursday. Everyone should have seen them already anyways. So for tonight, we've got a double header. So Bulldogs v Fremantle is the first one. 7 o'clock our time, 7:30 Melbourne time or most other states. Dogs have 6 changes. So out for them, Cooper Hines, Oscar Baker, Lockie Smith, Ryan Gardner, and Lockie Jacks omitted. So that's an interesting one there. And Adam Treloar managed. And in for them, Lockie McNeil, Artie Jones, Lethan Vandermeer, Harvey Gallagher, Nick Caulfield, and Tim English. Which is fantastic for our draft team that he is back in. And Freo just made one change. Patrick Voss is in for Judd is out with illness. So Voss was the late out last week. He's back in. The Crows and the Power, so the showdown tonight. Excited for this one. Should be a good match, I think. I think it'll be pretty even based off recent form.
Hopefully,
So the Crows have made 4 changes. Charlie Edwards has been omitted, unfortunately, if you were looking there as a rookie play. Finbar Maley and Nick Murray also omitted, and Dawson is back out with personal reasons. Not sure how long that'll be out for, but that was announced earlier in the week. And in for them comes Jake Saligo, who you would probably assume takes his midfield time, although he didn't play there last week, Dawson, so maybe not. Alex Neil-Bullen's back in, James Wallace, and Dan Curtin comes in for his season first game. He was a popular name in the preseason, so maybe you could be looking there. And in for the Power is our boy Toddy Marshall with Jack Watkins omitted. So pretty much the same team that went in last week because Watkins, I think, was the late in for Marshall. So pretty much the same. All right, on to Saturday, Essendon v Brisbane. I'm not sure who will win this game. Elijah Sardis omitted, and that was a joke, by the way. Sardis omitted, which is bad for anyone who went there. And Darcy Parish also managed, bad for anyone who went there. We were talking them during Cop or Flop last week, so I think we said Cop on... No, we flopped Sardis and we copped Parish, so... Little stuff up from us there, but oh well, you're probably trading Parish back out after a score last week anyways. Archer May is injured and Isaac Kako is injured as well, and they've brought in Jaden Ewan, Max Kondogiannis, Nick Cox, and Jade Gresham. For the Lions, Oscar Allen is out injured. They've named that up as was it 2 or 3 months? I think they named that up for, or quite a
12
while. Yeah.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, not great for him. And James Tunstall has been omitted. Dane Zorko is back, and Cody Curtin comes in for his debut, brother of Dan. So he'll take Oscar Allen's place as a key forward, 230k forward, I think he is. So that should be good for them. West Coast versus Richmond. West Coast have made 3 changes. Bo Allen omitted. Jack Williams omitted, and Sandy Brock omitted. Not a happy Casey over here. Harry Schoenberg, Tom Cole, and Matt Owies come back in for the Eagles. And for the Tigers, Hugo Rouse-Smith injured, Sam Lawler injured, and that's been named up 4 to 6 weeks. So if you do have him in your forward line, you've got to get rid of him now. Samson Ryan omitted as well. And Oliver Hayes-Brown comes back in for the ruck job. Tyler Sonsi back in, and Jaden Short is back after last week having his baby. Geelong versus North on the Saturday afternoon. Jack Bowes managed. Bowes, probably. Mike Woodsards as well is injured, which means they bring back in Sam DeConning and Jade Kolajasny into the side. North, Toby Pink has been omitted, and George Wardlaw's out with illness, with Charlie Comben and Tom Myers back in, which is good for our fantasy squad. So for me, I was weighing up whether... It says on here that he's in.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. He was an emergency last night.
He's still an emergency in my fantasy app.
Oh.
Refresh.
Interesting.
Oh, no, there's a tick. There you go.
I do remember looking at the teams last night and he wasn't there, so that's interesting. I reckon...
He hit us with a sneaky Bill Myers.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Wardlaw's illness only got named up today, and they've done that now. But regardless, I mean, I was looking at trading him out over Jax purely because he wasn't playing. But now I can trade out Jax over him, and Jax has more money on his head as well and a higher break even. So that's probably a win for us. So
that means I can't loop with Bill Myers now. Oh, dude.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you wanted to hold Jax, you could loop with him anyway.
No.
Don't think we're doing that. Carlton v St Kilda. Carlton have made 4 changes. They have dropped Lewis Young, Taylor Byrne, Ashton Moore, and Cooper Lord, which is fantasy relevant because they are playing. He can tag, and they brought back in Mark Pitnet is back, Harry Mackay is back, Adam Sard is back, and Ollie Hollins is back. So he's the other one that can tag. He did tag Dacos when they played Collingwood, but didn't do a very good job of it, obviously, because he scored a 130 or whatever it was. And for the Saints, Liam Ryan is out injured, with Hunter Clark out injured as well, and Liam Stocker and Liam Henry come back in. Liam Stocker, I think, means that there's 4 ex-Carlton players playing in this game against us, so that'll be fun.
There you go.
It's crazy how Jack McRae is not in the side. He's an emergency. It's so weird. Very weird. So yeah, look for Ollie Hollins to possibly do the job on Nasiah there, although Nasiah is named off the halfback, which is interesting. And Sinclair's named in the midfield. Not sure I'd read too much into that. So on to Sunday, then we get the extended squads. The Swans have made 1 change so far, with Tom McCartan out injured, and they possibly bring back in Peter Laddams, Hayden McLean, Lewis Melican, and I will assume Isaac Heaney will probably make the squad. So names there on the bench that could get cut. No one really relevant for us, I don't think. And for Grundy owners, Peter Laddams is named there last on the bench, and it's not number ordered, and I doubt he will come in. For Melbourne, Jai Cully is out injured, unfortunately, with that ACL, and possible ins Harrison Petty, Paddy Cross, Jack Henderson, and Andy Menzies-Wakefield, and on the bench for them to be cut. So Max Heath is there named 3rd. This is number ordered, though, so possibly he could be out. Latrell Pickett also named there on the bench if anyone has him. But yeah, I don't
think so. Max is speaking so highly of him.
Yeah, and Stephen King, I think, came out and said something about liking the look of Max forward or something, which I thought was really, really bad news. But I actually wrote about it in my captains, which we'll go through later. If there's any game where I feel like Max can come out and re-announce himself after some bad form, it's this game. And last year, Grundy had a 134, which I saw first, and I go, oh, so he obviously beat Max. Nope, Max had a 140, so there you go in that one. And we've only got 2 Sunday games because this one's a night game. Gold Coast versus GWS on Sunday night. So far, Zeke Euland has been managed, with Jared Witts managed as well. So obviously just managing Zeke as a young player. If you have him, that's a bit unfortunate. Possible ins for them: Lockie Goulburn, Sam Closey, Joel Jeffrey, Alex Davies, and Ned Moyle. So on the bench for them, that is interesting. For us is no one.
You can assume
Really?
Ned Moyle will come in because Witsy's out.
Probably.
So then it's
In
on two
fact,
of the
yeah,
other guys.
he is named there on in the ruck, so he will definitely come in. There. And for the Giants, Kieran Briggs, Nick Madden is injured, so Kieran Briggs, you would assume probably comes in. Actually, yeah, he's named in the ruck too, so comes in for him, as well as Harry
Yeah.
Roston, Joe Fonte, and Jake Riccardi. So all three of those guys, to me, sound like big names that could be in. So I don't know if
Mm.
that's, yeah. Fonte back from injury, you would think should be in. So on the bench there, James Leake is named on the bench, Stephen Cornelio on the bench. And then, yeah, Rouston, Fonte, Riccardi all named last on the bench there as well. So interesting. But that's the teams. No big things. Probably just the Jacks dropped. Blamires in is probably the biggest. Maybe swap that if you are trading out a defender, which is exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, Blamires is still an emergency on my website, so that must have been a pretty recent thing. Oh no, there you go. He is a
Mm.
tick. I just reset. All right, let's get into a bit of cop or flop then. So, if we are shopping in the defense line, hold on, let me just get my
Mm.
stats right and get price. There we are. If you are shopping in the defense line, do you just go right to the top and get a Lockie Ash or an Archie Roberts, both at 1.08 million? What are your thoughts on either of those guys?
I like them both, and the Giants' run isn't necessarily the best for the defenders. It's more like a midfield kind of run that's looking pretty good. But hey, they've got that good buy, so we want to be stocking up on the Giants players like Ash, Whitfield, Callahan, maybe even a Clary,
Yeah,
if we can. So I like it, but I don't know. I just I think I prefer to just save the cash a little bit and just go to Wangan Miller, who's probably
yeah,
the next guy on your list, who
yeah.
is just done it time and time again and is now finding his form again, and we know he can do it. And I don't know, just more trustworthy, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, there's kind of those three top line guys in Ash, Roberts, and Whitfield. Yeah. So the Giants' run is actually yellow, for the next 4, 6, and 8 weeks for half backs, but then obviously for midfields it's super green. Um, although Port Adelaide actually have a better run than them, which is just a sneaky little thing that we'll
There
say.
you go.
They've got 3 of the next 4 green matchups. So yeah. Ash and Whitfield should still be good. But I wouldn't expect them to be as good as Callahan and Oliver in the midfield. And Roberts, he's one of these guys. I think I said it on Monday, maybe, so no one would have heard this, but he's to me on the level of Bailey Smith and Nick Dacos, where he's just outscoring everyone, especially because he's a defender. He's just outscoring everyone every week. And so I
Yeah.
think that while you can get him at 1.08, as Dacos and Smith are 1.1 and 1.2, or both 1.2 now, I think that that's a good buy. So if you can afford that with the, because I assume most people will be doing one up, one down this week, whether that's getting rid of 2 rookies or a rookie and a mid pricer. Most people will be buying a premium this week, and I think if you can get Roberts while also doing whatever rookie you want on the other side of that, that's a win. But if you can't get there, then obviously there is Nasai, who I think is definitely a cop this week as well. So he should be great. His run coming up for the Saints midfielders, yeah, they go 72 green in the next 4. So they go green, green, yellow, orange, orange, red. So it's quite easy over the next 2 weeks, and then it gets a bit harder. So are we putting all those 4 as a cop? Any you want to flop?
I don't think so. I think they're all pretty good options.
Yeah. Um, yeah, agreed. Other defenders there. So then we're probably shopping in a bit of value. If we go down the list, you're not buying Josh Dacos, obviously, because he played last night and he was also bad. Jaden Short, I think that he's not a bad pick, but I probably wouldn't want to go
Mm.
there. Hasn't hit a ton since round 2. Other names there. Who else is there? So Jarman Impey, obviously, again, you can't get him, but I picked him up this week. I still think he could be a good buy next week. So if we read out his scores, round 0 in that tough scoring game for everyone, he scored a 68 against the Giants, and he goes 114 against the Bombers, 60 against Sydney, and then he goes into this kind of purple patch of 87 against Geelong, 96 against the Bulldogs, 115 against Port, 105 against Gold Coast, and then last night 105 against the Pies. So he's gone 3 tons in a row, pretty much 4 if you count his 96 as a ton. And yeah, he's playing really well. So I think that even after then, he could be a good buy, because he does after this week go green, yellow, orange, green, green, and then his bye. So 3 out of his next 5 before his bye are green. And he has that round 14 bye, which for defenders is Freo, Collingwood, Carlton. So he does share it with Houston and Newman, which is a worry for my backline. And especially if you have a Josh Dacos as well, could be a worry. But yeah, should be all right. We're probably looking to jump off at least one of those guys. For me, it'll probably be Newman on that buy. So I think that you can still buy Impey. And honestly, I could be jumping off Impey at that buy as well. Other names there in the defense that you could be shopping for. There's not really much else in terms of value up near that kind of 800k mark. Yeah, then we kind of go down to the 700ks and you go to your McKerchers, your Newmans, but I think we're just not shopping there.
Correct. Yeah, I think just go to the top when you can.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, I'm just writing all this down so I can have the record for next week. We're putting Impey at a top. Colby definitely a flop. I'm actually trading Colby out this week. Just he trained at kind of mid half forward today, I think it was, and Zerha did train at half back. So just the role seems to be not very good. Break even at 92. I don't think he hits that this week, especially not against Geelong. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to let that one go. And that, to be honest, that's kind of all I'm willing to shop for. I don't think that, and Kitty Coleman at 703k, I don't think that we're willing to go there either. Because he only scored a 52 last week. Yeah, there's just not many names that I feel great about going to under that premium price, to be honest. So we're probably just, if you're trying to get, I mean, there's obviously some rookies that maybe we can talk about. If I scroll all the way down to under 400k, let's look at the popular ones being traded in here. There's kind of not really anyone, to be honest. Never mind, there are no defender rookies, I guess. Is there anyone that you've seen floating around this week?
Not coming through, no.
No, there's not much in the defense. I think we're mostly looking to upgrade there. We've actually had quite a few dud picks. When you think about Colby, just not been a great pick. Kitty, not been a great pick. Newman hasn't been bad, but he's not been, he's not hit it out of the park. So yeah, all those kind of mid-price options. I think we're probably just looking to upgrade to a top 6 when we can. Which is, where Robertson, Nasir, I think, is probably the best way to go. Okay, let's look in the midfield, and you've got your top 2 guys. Obviously, you can't trade into Dacos anymore, but if you did trade into him, that is good. I know that my dad hit some good trades this week. Went Caleb Sarong up to Nick Dacos and Connor Buderick down to a forward rookie, which I think he's just smashed out of the park, I reckon. So that's good trading. And yeah, Baz up the top there at 1.242. I'm actually willing to put this at a flop for now, just because he plays North this week, who are a red matchup. He played Port last week, who were a red matchup. And he scored that 107. So I just feel like it's going to be somewhat the same this week. And maybe we're looking to get him a little bit cheaper.
I still think he'll be pretty good.
I still definitely think that he could be good. But I think that if you're wanting him in your side, you're probably wanting to wait. So 141 break even as well. We can wait for him to drop. I know the red matchups don't affect him too much, but he then does have Pies, Brisbane, and Sydney before going into an absolute green run from round 12, which I'll just concur with the fixture difficulty table. He goes green, 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 orange bye from round 12 to his round 16 bye. So, and especially, having people hit ceilings through the buys. So yeah, that's Carlton, Crows, Gold Coast, Fremantle. I think that's probably when we're going to be wanting to buy. So maybe it's not a flop, but it's we're just waiting. We're waiting for a better time to get him in, I think, is probably what I'm trying to say. If you're looking at some players under them, you go down and Zach Merritt we're putting at a flop. Obviously, he had his flop score last week. He was not very good. Max Holmes, I think we're probably putting at a flop as well, 79 last week. And both those guys have high break-evens that I doubt they'll hit this week. So we're not looking there. Isaac Heaney's an interesting one at 1.03 million. Obviously had he's got a last 3 average of 125. So last 3 scores of 104, 145, and 126. Did miss last week, but now comes up against the D's and then North, Collingwood, Geelong, Tigers, St Kilda, which if we look over Sydney's next 6, that is quite dark orange actually, so he doesn't hit a green matchup until after his bye. But yeah, he should be all right. Maybe underpriced, 91 break even as well, so should make some cash. Could be all right.
Yeah, maybe.
Who are some other names
I don't know.
in the midfield? Here we go. Are you willing to shop for a Marcus Bontempelli at 1.009 million with a 143 break even?
Probably not. I mean, he's going to get it done. It's Bont. He's not going to hit that this week, but he'll get up to price again within the next two. It's kind of he's going to be a top 8 midfielder at some point, so we'll probably want him at some point, but I just don't think it's now.
You don't think he'll hit that this week?
I don't think he'll hit that this week. No, I reckon he'll go like 120.
Do you want to hear his last two scores against Fremantle?
All right.
141, 142.
There you go. There you go. No, Bont will not hit 140 this week.
That's his third and fourth scores over 140 in his career. He scored 145 in 2022 against them and 148 in 2023. So actually, that would mean that that's 4 years in a row of 140s that he's hit against them. But there are other games in there where they've played them twice or in finals. But let me just actually properly check. Yeah, so 2020, 2019 he had a 128, 2020 we can mark off 83, 2021 a 125, 2022 an 83 and a 145, 2023 a 116 and a 148, 2024 a 96 and a 142, and then 2025 a 141. So pretty much every year except the COVID year, he's had a 125 plus against Freo.
There you go.
Interesting stat.
Well, probably a good thing that kind of averages out to about 120, which is what I reckon he'll go this week. So,
yeah, probably. Yeah. He's still sore. I don't think he trained earlier in the week. I don't know how he's doing now, but
yeah, it also sounds to me like when you read that out, he went lower in the first time and then bang with a 140 the second time.
I was just reading that as like trying to read the second score. So 2022 he went bang the second time. 2023 he went bang the first time. 2024 he went bang the second time as well. And yeah, played him once last year.
Did they play twice?
Yeah. Did they play him twice this year?
Yeah, around 21 as well.
Right, okay. There you go. Well, look, I don't think he hits that 143, but a 120 definitely I think could be in order. So, I mean, even at a 120 with a 143 break even, yes, he'll lose a tiny bit of cash, but if you're looking to upgrade this week, I don't think it's the end of the world if you buy him. And it'll still get you a 120. I mean, that'd be great.
That's the thing. There's another bloke who could possibly go 120 as a 140 break even, and is also got probably one of the best 3 games in a row for midfielders, and is priced almost 100k cheaper than him.
Well, let's talk about Finn Callaghan, 955k, 136 break even. Obviously had that 65 last week, being tagged and a little bit injured, but that won't affect him this week. He's not doing too bad. So yeah, he's got 3 green matchups in a row. Then he goes red and orange in his bye, but those 3 green matchups are Gold Coast, who are green, and then he goes Essendon, dark green, and then West Coast, who are light green. So he does have a fantastic run coming up. He is 955k. I could see him hitting. I don't think he has the ceiling of Bont. I mean, if we look at him last year, and I go through some of his scores, so let's look at his ceiling scores: 110, 105, 121, 101, 102, 113, 120, 102, 124, 122. So his highest score for the year was a 124. I'm not saying he can't add that to his game this year. He's already had 109 in round 1, 116 in round 3, 111 in round 5. But I just don't think he's that guy that can pop a 140. And I mean, who would you rather in your side for the rest of the year? Is it worth paying the extra? I think it's 54k for Bont. I think if you can reach it, I'm going Bont over Callaghan.
You're right. Well, Callahan's in my side at the moment.
Oh, okay. So you're trading. Can you afford Bont? Can you afford to go up?
No. No.
See, I think if you can't afford it, that's still a win. And even possibly, I mean, so Bont's being traded in by 710 coaches. He's actually being traded out by 934, which is interesting. If you have Bont, don't trade him out. That is not a smart move. And Callahan's being traded in by 728. So they're pretty even at the moment. Callahan's being traded in by 18 more coaches. Bont is 30% owned and Callahan is 3% owned though. As it sits. So that's where your unique comes in if you're looking for a unique. I've spoken about before. I've already got LDU and Brayshaw, so I'm not looking for a unique player. That's what turned me off McCluggage, thankfully, a couple weeks ago.
Did it turn you off Impy?
Well, no. Yeah. Look, in my midfield, I think if I'm gonna upgrade in my midfield, I
Yeah,
need one of those big guys. I need Dacos or Smith.
yeah.
Essentially, is what I'm shopping
I
for.
think
Probably
for
next
me,
week.
I've got Smith, and I'm looking at this as a 2 week play. I want a forward around 900, and I want Callahan. So like,
Mm,
I kind of want Petrarca and I want Callahan, or maybe I want Horn Francis. So I'm just doing the maths, and I think with the break even game, I might even go Horn Francis uh, this week, and then
yeah.
when Callahan drops enough, I can trade to like a Grill and a Blomeyers, and hopefully that should be enough cash
Yeah.
to go up to what's his face, and then hopefully no rookie pops, so I can just get
Yeah.
um, Harry Barnett on my side, and then
See, the hard thing for me is that I feel like if you're gonna buy Callahan, it almost has to be this week, because he's only got these 3 green matchups, and then he goes back to straight oranges, for the rest of the
well, is
year.
that does he get tagged in those games? Do you know?
So he plays Gold Coast where he won't get tagged. Essendon he won't get tagged. West Coast he probably won't get tagged. And then he plays Brisbane. You would
Hmm,
probably assume doesn't. And most teams will tag Ashton Whitfield before him. And then he
yeah.
plays Melbourne where he probably doesn't as well. So he shouldn't get tagged. And then he has his bye. And then yeah, he goes light orange, green, light orange, dark orange, green, red. So it's pretty orange after that. But
Because look, I'm looking at his scores, and he goes 86 against the Hawks in that game when no one scored well. And it being in that game when no one scored well, that's probably a 95 or something. That's
yeah,
about there.
probably 100.
Yeah,
Like I don't think there was
100,
a
100,
single
yeah.
100 in that game, so he was probably
And
one
then
of the
he
Giants'
goes,
highest scorers.
yeah, and then he goes 4 times in a row, 109, 98, 116, 111,
Yeah,
before he gets tagged by Jordan and then tagged by Finn O'Sullivan.
yeah, it's
So
fair. Yeah,
I think he can do the big scores in the games that are tough if there's no
yeah,
tag. But he is taggable,
yeah,
which is why
definitely.
I might go Clary. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
yeah. Well,
But yeah, it's
and the thing, my thinking around it is, and there's other names around this price. I mean, Will Ashcroft and Lockie Neal are both in the 990s. They had good scores last week. Now have super low break evens. 4% and
mm,
8% on Neil and Ashcroft, respectively. You've got a Sam Walsh in there at 982k. You've even got a Petrarca there at 958k. And I have heard some people trading him into the midfield this week just to be able to
yeah,
swap
that's
him
where I
back
would be
whenever they
trading
want.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, you even have a Horn Francis just below Callahan at 941k. And then, yeah, Clayton Oliver at 935k. So there's plenty of options. I think all of those could be good picks.
So
It's
if you were to rank Petrarca, Callahan, and Horn Francis,
Wow. See, my thinking around this and around everyone from that, Bont to Horn Francis range that I just mentioned is,
let's go up to bump.
well, you're wanting a guy that you're going to be happy with all year. And I think that
Yeah.
this is where the name factor comes in. And we look at guys like Bont, we look at a guy like Lockie Neal, we look at a guy like Sam Walsh, we look at a Christian Petrarca, and
Mm,
maybe are they just a toe in over Horn Francis, Callahan, Will Ashcroft, who are young players who don't have the runs on the board? Or, I mean, there's the other train of thought where you just go the younger player who's probably primed to go big now. I mean,
mm.
there's plenty of trains of thoughts with that, but in my head, I would be going. Oh, see, I don't like Petrarca as much as some other people do. I know he scored well 106 without a goal, which was my main concern,
Mm.
was that he only kicks goals to score well. Yeah, just I don't know. I don't know if I like it. Giants, Saints, Port, North in his
Yeah.
next four, which as a midfielder is red. So their run is
Yeah.
quite red. Whereas you look at the Port Adelaide run, so Gold Coast go orange, orange, red, red, bye. Port Adelaide go green, orange, green, green, bye. And
Mm.
Horn Francis got the runs on the board so far. I mean, he's got a last three average of 114. Triker's got, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously an injury score in that, but a last three average of 90, which is probably still under 114 if you take that injury score out. I'm going
And
Horn
if you want,
Francis, and then
yeah,
I'm
if
going
you want two of
Petrarca,
them,
and then I'm going Callahan. That's my
yeah,
order, I
right.
think.
And if you want two of them in over 2 weeks, Horn Francis has got a 70 break even. The other ones
Yeah,
are over 110.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you go him first.
And Horn Francis this week has the darkest green
The
matchup for
showdown.
yeah, well, the number one is the showdown, but also the darkest green
Mm,
matchup besides Essendon. Well, they're pretty much the same. They're like 1 point difference on the
mm.
FDT. So
I wonder
yeah.
if I change my vice captain from Butters to Horn Francis then.
Well, it's a question. I mean, I don't have Horn Francis, so I'm going Butters as my VC.
Mm.
Actually, I didn't include Horn Francis in my captains before because I just went Butters. He's probably over a couple of the guys that I put in down low.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, you
maybe.
definitely could do it. I would go the safety of Butters first, especially
Nah,
considering.
fuck it. It's a VC. Go the. I'm not chasing skate safety with the VC. I'm chasing, especially because I've got Baz against North Melbourne. Who, yes, it may be a red matchup, but it's Baz and it's North Melbourne. So
Yeah, I think definitely the captain. Like, I've got Harry Shees as my captain. There's not too many good players that are playing. Like, all the good
you
players
got
that.
Sheezel after you're convincing yourself to hold LDU because Sheezel will get tagged.
Well, that's not why I'm holding LDU. I'm just saying that everyone this week is
Okay.
talking about LDU is going to get tagged. LDU is going to get mullened. I feel like there's a chance it could go to Sheezel. That's a good point. I don't know why I have the captain on him actually.
Best re-roll into Sheezel then. Yeah.
But like all the like Roberts has got Brisbane, Dacos had Hawthorn, Baz has North, Sheezel has Geelong. That's like the four like big guys in the and even
Sinclair
in the rucks.
against Carlton.
No, he had West Coast last week and didn't even score a ton. I'm done with that guy. He's lucky he's not.
I just enjoy watching you captain him. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I would be going Butters over Horn Francis as captain. We'll talk about that later when we get to captains.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of these, there's so many guys in here, and yeah, it depends whether you want a name, whether you want someone who's going to be consistent for the rest of the year. If so, I would be going Bont. He's 158k under what he started for the year. Yes, he has a 143 break even. Had a 114 last week, even though he was sore and is still sore. Comes up against Freo, where he's had 4 140s in his career. And has a 125 plus every year since before COVID. Then plays Port, Carlton, Melbourne after that. It's a pretty good run. And then if you're wanting a unique name, I think it's probably Callahan because of the goodbye. I think you can lean on him having the goodbye too. So when we say goodbye, he does have the round 13 bye, which is shared with Richmond, who no one has any Richmond players except Grill probably.
And Reshko.
And Rechko, there you go. But so rookies, so
maybe coming.
I don't mind the look of Sam Walsh either, who finally hit a ceiling last week. Especially with Cooper Lord out of the side this week, and they haven't really brought in a midfielder. And he did dip in CBAs a little bit last week, so he could dip up. And that also means for Jagger Smith as well. I seriously am quite convinced that this week he'll have 50 or 60% CBAs. Because it's Cripps, Chero, Walsh, and then it was Lord last week. They've dropped Lord and not brought in a midfielder, so I think Jagger should be good this week. But anyway, let's move on from these mid-price midfielders, and let's look down a little bit as I scroll down. So we talked about Matt Rowell as a possible guy who's a bit unders. He had 85 last week against the Hawks, which is not bad. And yeah, not a terrible fixture coming up, but not great either. So I think we're just avoiding him at 894k. If we keep scrolling down, Josh Dunkley is cheap, 260k. He's lost over the year. He's 868, and so is Jared Caldwell, who's lost 227k for the year. He's 860k. In mentioning them, we're not going them. We scroll even further down, and where's the guy I'm looking for? Hugh McCluggage, here he is. 266k, he's lost. 806 he is. He's got a 110 break even. And they play Essendon this week after an 80 last week with 60% time on ground. In fact, what was it exactly? 66% time on ground against the Crows for his 80, which points per minute is fantastic. And again, in round 5 when he came back, 56% time on ground for a 91. So his points per minute is fantastic. In terms of the Lions CBA mix, I think that Zorko coming back in is really interesting for just everyone moving around everywhere and what happens with that. So McCluggage had 59% CBAs last week.
Gee, I hope he pops a bad score so we can launch. That'd be really nice.
I kind of think that... Oh, Zorko, yeah. He'd be a good guy to get. The other thing with Zorko coming in is there a possibility that he is eased back in? I don't know if we've heard any word on whether he's like... Because you know how when Christian Petrarca came back in, he'd had like 2 weeks to really get like right. I don't know if maybe
it's saying
Zorko's
that he scored 95
that.
and 104.
True.
So.
So yeah, I don't know if Zorko's right, then maybe this doesn't matter. But if he's not, do they change him to the kind of player they're resting and play McCluggage? Like they can't play two guys at 60% tog. they can't play McCluggage and
Yeah,
Zorko rested. So one of them has to go big, and in my books, that's probably McCluggage. You would think.
Cluggage. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Maybe this and
Mm,
look, he plays Essendon this week as well. Easiest matchup, and he
mm.
does have easy matchups after that. Carlton, Geelong, Giants, Freo, Gold Coast. So they do still have a good run coming up over that next six. That is a
This is where a
green
good coach
71.
would launch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not right for most sides this week. I think everyone's looking for a name. But if you were really, really gutsy, if you needed something to get you back up the ranks, the same way I went Impy as a unique in my defense to get me back up the ranks,
Mm,
if you need McCluggage to get you there, then yeah, he's 2% owned. Gee, Impy's
mm.
1.12% owned. That's crazy. Yeah, 2.44 is McCluggage. So if you really needed that, I would tick that off. If we scroll down even further, there's probably no one else that we're talking about off the top of my head.
Not that I can
No,
recall.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
no, the rest of forwards. Yeah.
Yeah, most forwards. So if we go down to kind of the rookie priced players under 400k, and there are a few names that can be popular this week. So obviously, Patrick Rechko is a very popular trade in. So he's 338k with a minus 26 break even. Had that 91 last week. So if you don't have him, you're just getting him. Doesn't matter what the hell you can do on the other side. That has to be your locked trade
Mm.
in if you don't have him. I think he'll be fantastic. And Sam Cumming as well is just above him at 343k with a 20 break even after a 58 last week. He could just as easily pop a 90 this week. And
Mm.
especially with Lawler out, I feel like he might even get more CBAs because he is a midfielder in kind of a bit of the mold of Lawler. He had 36% last week, and Lawler had 55%, which has to be split up between Ross, Prestia, and Hopper, who were all there. Is Taranto's not back in either, is he?
No.
No, so there you go. So maybe Cumming could be a good buy this week. Is there any world in which you would encourage people to do a double downgrade?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it depends how what rookies you. Oh, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's
Because
hard.
like
I
both
don't
of
know.
those, I
I
think are
just
fantastic rookie buys. I think you can still get Cumming next week. He does have a 20 break even. He
yeah.
shouldn't get away from you, but it'll probably be about 380, 390, possibly close to
Mm.
400 next week. I reckon that it's a hard one.
I don't have
I
a
th-
good enough team to do that,
yeah, I
but
think just because no one's been able to upgrade really
at
because we've
all
had so many
this year,
injuries, I
yeah.
think everyone's just quite excited about upgrading, and fairly enough, and we probably do need to do that. But yeah, other interesting guys that are traded in highly. Tom Burton for Richmond as well, a
Mm.
239k rookie. He played last round for a 37, got a 17 break even, so he is traded, and I think you're just looking to go up to either of those two other Rechko or Cumming Richmond guys and just
Yeah.
find cash somewhere to go there. And there's not really anyone else, to be honest, that it looks like is highly trade in. I mean, Angry Anderson still had 1,600 coaches trade into him, so that would suck if you did go there, unfortunately.
Mm.
But that I think is it. And even Murdoch's still got over 1,000 people trading into him.
You
So yeah,
can.
absolutely you can do it. So yeah, of those names we
Yeah.
mentioned there, through the whole midfielders, Hugh McCluggage is actually being traded in by 2,000 coaches. So if you wanted a bit of safety in numbers, I know he's lowly owned, but there are some people trading into him. But let's look. I don't think anyone's trading in the ruck, but if you are, the most traded in ruck this week is Tristan Sherry with
As it
1,800
should
coaches
be.
trading in. I think it. I agree. I
Yeah.
think it should be. So he is pretty much he's 9k cheaper than Sherry. So than Grundy. So they're the same price. If you didn't have either of them and you were looking to upgrade in the ruck, either go up from a McAndrew, which I think you could probably do this week. I don't think that's a
Yeah.
bad move. There are 2,300 coaches trading out of McAndrew this week. If you were looking to do that,
Mm.
would you be trading into Grundy or Sherry?
Probably actually go Sherry. Not only because I don't think he's going to drop a bad score as well. Like Grundy won't as well, but I think Sherry has the opportunity to outscore Grundy this week for sure. But then I reckon they can probably average the same after that. So you're getting instant reward. You're getting that little point of difference. So and if Grundy does pop a 80 like he has earlier on this year, then you've got Sherry in the slot. But I mean, you can't really go wrong. I think they're both as this isn't quite as you can't go wrong as a Max and Grundy, because I just don't see Cherry falling off like Max did, or having anyone else come into the side and take rock time off of him. Like
Yeah.
Coleman Jones has been playing, but but has not been good enough by any stretch of the imagination to kick him out of the team. Like
Yeah.
I just think this is safe. It's just doable to
So
do both. Yeah.
yeah,
So I
over
go. Mm,
over Sherry's next 8 weeks, he goes green, red, green, green, bye, green, 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 orange. And over
mm,
Grundy's next few weeks, he goes very light green, yellow, yellow, green, green, orange, red, bye, orange. So he's only got 3 green matchups in there, and one of them is not super good. Melbourne, which is this week.
yeah.
So Cherry's definitely got the run for it. And he's also got the first buy, which McAndrew also has that buy, the round 12 buy, which is a bit annoying that we can't trade McAndrew with someone coming off their buy. But
Yeah.
even if you wanted to match someone, hold McAndrew over his buy and then trade off him into Sherry into round 13,
Mm,
you definitely could do that. Otherwise, you're probably, if you're wanting Grundy, you're either trading McAndrew now or before his buy, or you're holding him until the round 15 buy to get him Grundy off his buy. Um, yeah.
yeah. I don't know. You would be playing a long game, wouldn't you?
Yeah. There are also 900 coaches trading into Jackson. Would you be willing to do that over Sherry to save 50? No, what was that? Yeah, 53K.
I mean, they're both good. Well,
Mm.
it's that same thing again. I've got Jackson in my draft league, and I don't think I'm going to ever lose a draft game again.
Yeah.
Like it's just he's an elite pick. But so is Sherry, and so is Grundy. I just don't think you can go wrong in any which way you look at it. Like, sure, that
So,
the one might outscore the other one week, but
yeah.
then overall,
Yeah.
it'll be all right.
So Jackson has the round 14 buy, and before that goes orange, orange, yellow, orange, orange, yellow. So I think
Mm,
you're probably just going Sherry, I think, and paying the extra 53K. All right, last one onto the forwards, and then we'll get into some captains.
mm.
So at the top of the trade in list is Horn Francis and is Petrarca, and Horn Francis is being traded in by 6,800 coaches, Petrarca by 5,300, although Petrarca is 51% owned. I'm going to assume a lot of them are teams that have given up already and had him in their
Probably, yeah.
side from
Didn't
the
trade him out.
start. But Horn Francis is 9% owned, so he's still a little bit unique. And yeah, as I said, Horn Francis's last few matches have been fit. So 120 and 126, 97 over his last three. And if we take out Petrarca's injured, since he's come back, I guess he's done 106, 97, and even before that in round 0 and 1, 108 and 121. So,
Mm. Horn Francis hit a 50 in round one against North Melbourne, and then has gone at 106
yeah.
since round two.
Yeah, and you literally can put that down to the fact he was injured in the preseason. Did he play a preseason game or
No.
no? So that was his first game for the year, like just playing.
Mm.
You can absolutely put that down to he was
To that,
just
yeah.
he was just a bit injured. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm so going Horn Francis over Petrarca. I think
yeah.
yeah, it's just yeah.
I tell you what, I've just done this thing where you click my history and then you look at trades, and it has this little stat. It's like what blokes were before you traded them in and what they were after.
Oh
And
no.
I think I've lost in every single week. This is actually outstanding. I hadn't looked at this before.
We might have
So,
to make that a little segment on Monday, I think.
oh yeah,
Check through.
maybe
Maybe
just
as we
check
get to the
just like
buys, we can
halfway through the season. Yeah, we
yeah,
just do
yeah,
a little check in,
might do
see how
that.
we've gone.
So just under them in terms of trade-in. So Cozzy Pickett is more expensive than the two being traded in by 3,000 coaches. Are you going him? So we're going Horn Francis over Petrarca. Where do you put
Yeah,
Cozzy?
above them both, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think you just
I don't
have
know.
to.
It's cheaper, but it's just going to be. Oh, I don't know.
I think you
There's a
do.
part of me
I
that
think you
worries
kind of
about Horn
have to.
Francis, but yeah, I reckon you do. Yeah,
Yeah. Chad Warner is next with 2,000 coaches trading into him. Where do you fit him into the ranking? He's
at the end,
110K over cheaper than Horn Francis and 125K cheaper than Petrarca.
and honestly, as he should be. I
Yeah.
mean, like yes, he popped that 120, but brother's never doing that again. Like
He's
that's
833K.
literally his fourth highest score in 6 years.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you're getting what you paid for now. Although
mm,
his last five scores 121 last week and then 89, 91, 85, 82. So he has actually been relatively consistent. 39 in round one is not great and 76 in round zero. He's really only, yeah,
yeah,
he's not been bad. But yeah, I think at 833K, he's not quite the value that some people got him at with a 7 in front of his name last week.
yeah,
And you're probably just, if you can get the money to go up there, to Horn Francis, Petrarca, or Pickett, you're going there. But if you can't do that because you're getting Rechko or Cumming on the other end of it, and you don't want to trade out someone particular, I still think that he's a good pick at 8.33. I think, and especially with a 59 break even, it's a good time to buy him. I reckon. Another popular trade-in target who I really, really do not understand why some people are so hot on this guy. Zach Bailey is being traded in by just as many coaches as Chad Warner. What's the
Well,
thinking here?
I looked at him, and he's cheaper, and he plays for well, maybe not a much better team, but I reckon Brisbane are going to be better than Swans this year. Yes, he dropped that 30, but then he's gone three 120s in a row.
So
Like,
he's 127 last week. The week before he
yeah,
dropped the 39, then before that 100, and before that 112. The CBAs are what's really interesting here because he is playing some CBAs. So over those games against what is it? Let's see. Against Collingwood, he had a 112 with 45% CBA. So actually, sorry, I'll go back to Saints. He had an 84 with 48% CBAs. Collingwood, he had a 112 with 45% CBAs. North, he had 100 with 8% CBAs. Melbourne, he had that 39 or 30, what was it? Yeah, 39 with a 26% CBAs. And then last week
yeah,
against the Crows, he had 127 with, again, 26% CBAs. And for me, I know that he's still scored well without the CBAs, but with McCluggage probably going up sometime soon, I could just see him taking all those CBAs. Like that's yeah.
true.
And even like an Ashcroft has been sitting in the low 70s, high 60s. Even Dunkley has been sitting there. I could see both those guys taking an uptick. I just don't see this as a lasting role for him. And again, he's 112. He kicked 2 goals. 100. He kicked 0. The 39 even. Oh no, sorry, that's behinds. Yeah, 112 he kicked 2 goals. The 100 he kicked 2 goals. The 39 obviously he kicked 0. And last week he kicked 3 goals. So like Petrarca, he does need the goals to get there. He's doing it this
Yeah,
year, but I just.
contract year as well. He runs out of contract at the end of the year.
I mean, who are you going? Zach Bailey, or are you going 20k cheaper to get Chad Warner?
I don't like Chad Warner.
Really?
I don't
Oh,
know why.
I was the same, and I think I'm just a bit rose-colored glasses because of that 120 last week.
Yeah, and we were also both the same about Rochelle, and one of us did that, and one of us
Yeah,
didn't. Look how that
yeah,
turned out. So,
yeah, exactly. I just think that
mm,
there's plenty of better names than Zach Bailey this week. It very
yeah,
much gives the
agreed.
same vibes as a Shy Bolton, who is a bit cheaper.
Yeah, I
Of
just don't
just
think you
it's
want to be
either a
going to either of these guys.
no, exactly.
Like,
It's a 40 or it's a 120 with Bailey. Whereas for Warner, I think it's a 70 or a 100. Like I think it's a much smaller
I
gap.
don't even do that. I think it's more like 75 to 95, and not
Yeah,
even maybe
maybe.
75 to
Yeah,
90, and
yeah,
he's going to hit. Like,
yeah. And every 8 rounds he hits a big 110 or something. Yeah, but
mm,
I mean Bailey has the ceiling in him. 127 last week.
yeah,
But yeah, and I will mention as well, not that he is a midfielder, but he did have some CBAs. That was against the Crows, who are dark green, so we
yeah,
have to keep that into account. But they're probably the only guys that I think you can probably be going to in the forward line, unless you want some rookies. So there is Cody Curtin there, who's a 230k forward, who's been traded in by 2,000 coaches. I think he's good. His job security seems good with Oscar Allen out of the side, so that should be good.
true,
James Leake is
true.
also being traded into 324k defender forward, so he's been traded into by 1,400 coaches. He's named on the
Mm,
extended bench, so just watch that for tonight's teams, but he still could be good. Toby Murray is also being traded into by 800 coaches, so he's a 253k forward. If you really needed someone cheap, you definitely could go there as well. And yeah, then there's not much else. I mean, Isaac Rankin's there. I just think we're not going there. He did have an 89 last week, which was okay, but
mm,
he had CBAs last week, which is the big thing. But I think we're leaving him. I don't think that he's going to get away from you at 735k. And there's no one else really, to be honest. That's about it.
no, we've gone for almost an hour. We've been talking about Footy for that long. I reckon we should move on to
Well,
something more
let's go.
important.
Well, luckily for us, Weather Watch pretty much will not be a segment because there is no rain in any of these games this weekend. Nothing to watch.
There
It
you
should be
go.
fantastic weather for all games this week. So let's get into some captains. So they averaged 113 last week, which is the best they have for the year. So
Yeah,
that was fantastic. Did have Archie Roberts and Nick Dacos. So I had Nick at number 1, Archie at number 2. Nick outscored Archie by 1 point. So you can send your messages in saying I'm a genius later if you'd like. So again, as I said before, if you have Nick Dacos at a 124 VC, you take that. I think any VC over 110 this week, we're just taking. If you get a VC over 110, you just take it because there's not many here. I've had to reach a little bit. And again, I forgot Horn Francis, so a shout out for him. I would probably stuff him in probably around number 4 or 5. But let's go down to number 8, and that is Finn Callahan. Number 8, he should be good here in a green matchup against the Gold Coast. 122 and 113 his last 2 against the Suns. And if he's all you got to run into a captain on a Sunday, he should be okay. Number 7, I've again gone the 2 players because I can't split them. It's Lockie Neal and Will Ashcroft. So both had big scores. Neal had a 159, Ashcroft had a 131 last week. Now come up against the easiest matchup for midfielders in Essendon. So last week it was the Crows, who are pretty much the same dark green. Both of them had scores in the 130s against Essendon in 2024, and then Neal last year had an 81 and Ashcroft with a 102. So they should be good here. Feels like a little bit of a points chase. And remember that their big scores last week were against a matchup that are just as easy in the Crows, so don't expect anything bigger than last week. They're coming up against Essendon. So they should be all right. Number 6 is Brody Grundy. So yes, this is Grundy versus Gawn, but also remember it should be Grundy versus Heath as well, assuming he stays on the side and is not pushed out once teams gets finalised tonight. So 134 against Max last year, although Gawn had a 140 last year against Grundy. So I could definitely see this as a comeback game for Gawn, especially if Heath is pushed out tonight. Grundy has had his good 4-week stretch against Flynn, Witts, Madden, and the Bulldogs rookies, Emmett and Smith. So he's yet to come up against a real good ruck. I mean, maybe you could say Witts is that, but he hasn't been as hard this year. So I think it's a risky captain pick, but the ceiling, especially if he's against Heath for more than 50 or 60%, could be massive. So ideally this would be a VC type thing, but he does play Sunday afternoon. So I think I'm probably avoiding that, but I've just put him there because he should be good. Number 5, I've gone Bailey Smith. So 132 against North last year, who are a red team for midfielders. We did see Baz go 107 last week against a red Port Adelaide, so maybe the ceiling is cut off. He should still be a safe 110 if you wanted to go there. I think he should be a good captain pick after your VC. Number 4, I do have Harry Sheasel. So yes, he could get the Mullen tag, could go to LDU. I think it's pretty 50-50. But regardless, 111 and 118 the last 2 times he's played the Cats, so obviously didn't get it then. His last game at GMHBA, he had a 159 2 years ago with 38 touches. There's lots of guys like this, like I've said before, Dacos, Smith, Archie Roberts, who have tough matchups but should still be able to get a 110 or a 120. So I think he could be a good captain pick, Geelong Orange matchup. Number 3, this is where your big hitters are, this top 3. Nasiah. So Carlton dropping Cooper Lord does help, as it's less likely they run a tag or run one that works. So Ollie Hollands ran with Dacos a couple of weeks ago. It could happen again, but I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Naz has a top score of 108 against the Blues in his career, hitting that last year. So that was the only time he's ever hit over a ton against Carlton. But they are a green matchup at the moment. No hard tags, foreseeable, and in great form with 117 his last 3. I think he should be a great pick this week. Number 2, I do have the Bont. So yes, he's sore, but you can't ignore his last 2 scores of 141 and 142 against the Dockers, which are his 3rd and 4th scores over 140 for his career. So 145 in 2022 and 148 in 2023. Freo at the moment are a light orange for midfielders, but based on his history, Bont could override that absolutely. So he could be good, especially as a VC, but just because he's sore, I think on the tonight that could be good. And the other VC tonight is obviously Zach Butters, and I guess you could put Horn Francis in here as well if you wanted to. So the showdown happens twice a year, and over the last 2 years or 4 games, Butters has averaged 114 with a highest score of 143. So he loves a showdown. The Crows are easier than ever at the moment, being as dark green as Essendon. We saw what Brisbane did last week with Neal a 159 and Ashcroft a 131, as I said before. So this is a great Friday night VC. Butters before the tag has been in red hot form as well with 125 and 118 over those games, and then even worked through Mullen tag for an 88, which is probably about a 120 anyway. And if I just quickly look at Horn Francis's history in the showdown, 89 last year, 107 and 56 in 2024, both those games. He obviously missed one last year, I think. So he doesn't quite have the history of fantasy scoring that Butters does. He's kind of really hit it off this year, but he could also be a good VC. But again, just with the history of what Butters has done, I would be VCing that. But yeah, that's my captain. So I'm, as it stands, going Butters into Sheasel, but you have spooked me a little bit with the talk of Sheasel being tagged. I don't actually own any other player on the...
That was your talk.
That was my own talk. I don't actually own any of the other top 8 captains, so it's really quite slim. I might just go with the safety of Archie Roberts, considering he's been a good scorer. There's really no one else.
I feel like that's pretty safe.
Yeah, I mean, do I go? I've been hurt by Gorn. I mean, Sheasel just seems like the kind of safest guy there, I guess, like in terms of just what he's been scoring.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I could go. I could be persuaded to do an Archie Roberts. Although the thing that scares me with Archie Roberts is the fact that they've talked up. Oh, we can't let Essendon do this waxing thing. We can't let them do this. Although Collingwood did say that last week, and look what he did. So.
And then let him do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I think that's pretty safe. Archie Roberts pretty safe. It's not like the worst. I know personally, I will be going Horn Francis into probably just Baz. I've gone Baz my captain the last 3 weeks. Yes, he got a 107, but between that, he's got a 145 and a 128, something like that. So can't go wrong really. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Not gone Butters.
No, I'm going Horn Francis. I think he's much less owned, and I want that.
That's a unique captain.
Random. That's exactly one. That's right. Yeah,
that's good.
If I'm not going Callahan, I still want the uniqueness of something. So I'm going to go.
There you go.
Horn Francis captain. Yeah.
There you go. Well, there you go. That's us done.
Very nice. That's pretty much. So what are your trades for the week?
So my trades, I did last night tick off going Jax or I guess going McKercher to Impey, and then I'm going Jax through a bit of DPP down to Rechko.
Nice. I myself am going Jax to Rechko, and then Jagger Smith is the only one I have to get rid of because I don't have enough cash to get up to anybody else that I like, and that gets me up to Horn Francis. So I know you think Jagger Smith's going to pop an 80, and yeah, he probably will. But I literally don't have. If I go anybody else, I'm bringing in someone like, I don't know, fucking Chad Warner, who we all know I'm not going to do. So
well, that's the thing, and that difference, I think you can tick off trading out someone like Jagger. I mean, he's going to go at some point.
Yeah, and I think for me, I'm happy to go early on that just to get up the cash that I need. Break even 50. It's one of the highest out of all of them. Yes, he might go over that, probably will, but I still, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, with any luck, your round 8 team is on the mark.
And not off the mark, and we'll be back with you on Monday or Tuesday to go through everything. And just quickly, apologies if I've been looking here the whole time because we're testing out a new video thing, and I've got my phone here as a backup video so we don't lose it like we did on Tuesday. So if you've watched me look diagonally the whole thing, apologies. But hopefully you're watching me look right there into that camera on my computer.
Fingers crossed.
And not that camera on my phone. But yeah, we'll be back on Monday or Tuesday to review everything round 8.
Sounds good. See you then.
See ya.